What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of That Dynasty Show. It has been actually a little over a week since Tyler and I have recorded something, and I'm very happy to get back into it. I was away for the weekend. Our schedules weren't really lining up, but you know what? We are back, and soon to be, the NFL will be back too. But before we get into our video today, I got to introduce my buddy Tyler, as always. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I think we have a fun video planned today. It's good for this time of year when things are kind of stagnant. We're in training camp. Everyone's an all-star right now. Including you in that brand new official NFL shop stitched Baker Mayfield jersey. It looks awesome.
Of course, dude. Baker Mayfield. I'm very excited. His first couple of days of training camp, I remember last time we talked, you were busting my balls about it, and now he has been just absolutely lights out in camp. He's been crushing it. I don't think I've been this excited for Panthers training camp since probably 2016 or 2017. So really hoping it's going to be a fun year to be a Panthers fan. But speaking of fun things, this is going to be a fun video, as you said. We're going to do a little keep, trade, cut. So what we're going to do on this video today is I'm going to give you a few situations. You're going to give me a few situations. We're going to talk about those guys who we're going to keep, who we're going to trade, and who we're going to cut. And then if we have a little bit of time, maybe we'll do a couple little rapid fire rounds there at the end. But you know what? I always let you start first. So I'm going to start. I'm going to ask you first. So Tyler, keep, trade, cut, Ezekiel Elliott, Derrick Henry, and Aaron Jones.
Keep Aaron Jones because he's going to be the biggest producer there. Out of those three, I think easily. I think he's going to score the most points this year. I don't see Derrick Henry putting up a full season of production, of healthy production. So for that reason, I'm going to be trading Derrick Henry. I think he's got more trade value and name value, even though he is older than Ezekiel Elliott. Derrick Henry does have more value in Dynasty right now. So we are trading Derrick Henry and we are cutting Ezekiel Elliott. You heard it first from Dallas Cowboys fan nation. We are cutting Ezekiel Elliott.
It's really funny because I had a feeling you would cut Zeke, and that's kind of why I threw him in here, just because I wanted to see you squirm a little bit.
You wanted to keep me on my toes and you put me in a bad mood as soon as we started the video. That's what you wanted.
Oh, exactly. No, I like to keep you in check there, check your biases at the door. But everything you said, I completely agree with. That is the exact format that I would go with: Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, and Ezekiel Elliott. Like you said, Aaron Jones poised for a massive year. Derrick Henry's got the trade value, and I agree with you. I don't know if he'll be able to put together a fully healthy season. I don't like to try to predict injury, but he's getting up there in age, and Tennessee's going to have to use him a lot with that offense. So, yeah, I like the calls. We agree straight down on that one.
Yeah, if it's not going to happen this year, I think it's going to happen next year. So he can only last for so long. He's kind of already been an anomaly, just producing as long as he has. I know the first couple of years of his career, he was playing behind DeMarco Murray, and those touches weren't there for him to really wear his body down. But they've been there ever since, and it's only a matter of time. So I think it's time to trade Derrick Henry on most of our rosters.
Yeah, and you'll be able to get a really damn good return from him. He'll give you the best return between him, Zeke, and Aaron Jones. And I mean, to be honest, at this point, Zeke might offer more upside than Derrick Henry, right? Like I know that there is concerns with his receiving workload because of Tony Pollard, but we know Zeke is still probably going to see 300 touches this year in some way, shape, or form. But Derrick Henry, he's going borderline first round, maybe early to mid second round in dynasty startups right now, in one quarterback dynasty startup. So presumably you can get a first plus maybe another first for Derrick Henry. You'll be able to get a lot from him in the trade market. So
not for me, but
no, not for me either. But he's a really good guy to trade kind of midway through the year when someone, inevitably when somebody's running back goes down and they really need a guy to make their push. Derrick Henry is going to be that perfect guy.
Definitely. So now we're going to move on to some young guys who are actually in a lot of people's top 5, top 7, top 10 receivers. And I know you're a big fan, so I'm gonna put you in a spot here right off the bat.
Okay.
Waddle, Higgins, and CeeDee Lamb. keep trade cut.
I hate your guts. Okay, so I'm keeping T. Higgins probably to no one's surprise. T. Higgins is my wide receiver 3 through and through. I think he is just awesome. He started off his career with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and both of those were kind of limited seasons. And his rookie year, he didn't have Joe Burrow all year, so that's a pretty damn good feat right there. CeeDee Lamb is going to be my trade. I think that CeeDee Lamb and T. Higgins have very similar ceilings. I will say CeeDee Lamb's floor is probably a bit safer since he is really the only legitimate receiver left over in Dallas since Michael Gallup is hurt right now. But CeeDee Lamb is pretty much the consensus wide receiver 3 in almost every dynasty ranking out there, right? So I'm going to trade him. I think that's going to be maximum value. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut Jalen Waddle, which obviously you never have to cut Jalen Waddle. But Higgins is my 3, CeeDee Lamb is my 4, and Waddle, I believe, is like my wide receiver somewhere 7 through 9. So I still like Jalen Waddle a lot. He is, at very worst, a low-end dynasty wide receiver 1 for me. But I don't think he carries the same value as T. Higgins or CeeDee Lamb. And as long as Tyreek Hill is also in the field and Tua, I don't think he has the same upside as them.
I'm entirely in agreement with you on Waddle. I think Waddle's the one that would have to go out of those 3, mainly because of Tyreek Hill, right? Because that contract is going to be for the foreseeable future. It's a while out, but I'm going to disagree with you when it comes to CD and Higgins. I think T. Higgins' value is kind of capped where it's at. I don't see Higgins being able to really explode in value this year beyond where he is. Even though Lamb's already the wide receiver 3, there's a big gap between him and the Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. I think he's got a chance to catapult himself into that, 3 first-round picks worth of value territory this year. If he ends up getting the chunk that we think he's going to get out of that Cowboys offense, there's no telling what his value could get. I think I'm going to hold him and see what the value brings throughout the season.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And I had a feeling that you would be holding on to CeeDee Lamb, especially because I know you got him higher than T. Higgins, and you're so used to hearing me hype up T. Higgins that you're probably like, oh, yeah, the trade market must be pretty damn good for him, which I think the trade market is pretty damn good for T. Higgins. I think that he's universally thought of in the top 10 at very worst for most people at this point. So there's nothing wrong with having to trade either of those guys. You're a firm believer in CeeDee Lamb, and that's perfectly fine. I see no reason not to believe in CeeDee Lamb. So that's kind of as long as Jalen Waddle is your cut here, I'm not going to fight you on Higgins versus Lamb on the keeper trade thing. I think that's kind of a coin toss depending on who you're at. Well, it's a lopsided coin because I think most people are taking CD. I'm the crazy guy taking T. Higgins, but either way, I don't necessarily disagree with you.
Yeah, I think it's just the opportunity that's ahead of CD Lamb. He doesn't have a Jamar Chase that's playing next to him. As good as we might hope that Jalen Tolbert might end up being, or that Michael Gallup could be over the next couple of years, they will not be what Jamar Chase is. So for that reason, I think Lamb is the hold for me.
Well, you brought up some receivers, so I'll bring up some receivers for you. And it's a combination of young upside, middle-aged upside, and very proven production in the past. I think this one could be kind of difficult for you. So keep trade cut. Tyreek Hill, Treylon Burks, and Terry McLaurin.
Ooh. Wow.
It's a thinker. It's definitely a thinker.
Yeah, definitely. I think though, like if you go to the open market right now, not many people are going to throw 2 first-round picks at you for Treylon Burks. I think there's a chance they would do that for Tyreek though. Man, it stinks because I love Terry McLaurin, and I love that he, believe it or not, is getting a quarterback upgrade this year. I think he's one of like the most efficient and one of the best just eye test receivers in the league. The things he does amaze me. So it stinks that I'm going to have to make Terry McLaurin my cut guy here. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna trade Tyreek. I think I'm getting way more for him than Treylon Burks, and I think the upside with Burks, again, he's a guy who could skyrocket in value by being a producer this year in Tennessee. There's no one else around him besides Robert Woods. So yeah, I'm gonna keep Treylon. I'm gonna trade Reek. That situation in Miami, it just stinks, man. Going down from a top 5 quarterback with, you're only competing with a tight end for targets to now you're competing with a guy who put up one of the best rookie seasons as a receiver of all time and a stud tight end, and you don't have anywhere close to a top 5 quarterback in any metric in the NFL in Tua Tagovailoa. So yeah, Tyreek's getting shipped. McLaurin's getting cut, and Birch is getting kept on my squad.
See, I think we completely disagree on this one, and I guess that's okay because these are 3 very different players. I'm actually cutting Treylon, and the only reason why I'm cutting Treylon Burks is because, one, I would not choose him in a 1-for-1 over Terry or Tyreek. And I think that you could probably get more on the trade market for either Tyreek or Terry McLaurin, especially with, Tyreek has proven it before. I know that a lot of people are nervous because of Tua and because of Jalen Waddle. Rightfully so. We should be nervous. He doesn't have Pat Mahomes anymore. But Tyreek Hill is still universally a wide receiver 1, or at least a top 15 wide receiver in a lot of dynasty rankings. Terry McLaurin just signed that huge extension. Like you said, somehow Carson Wentz is an upgrade at quarterback for him. And yeah, Terry McLaurin just makes amazing play after amazing play. He's been the only, outside of Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin has been the only pleasant thing to watch in Washington for the last couple of years on offense, right? So when it comes to Treylon Burks, what I see is a rookie who hasn't done anything yet and who has been getting a lot of shit in training camp. There's not a single good report coming out of him in training camp, and training camp gets overblown, right? This time last year, Jamar Chase was dropping balls and couldn't even see a ball. And 2 years ago, Justin Jefferson was supposed to be the wide receiver 3 in Minnesota, right? So we got to take that with a grain of salt, but it's just at this moment in time, I don't think there's enough hype on Treylon Burks to justify trading him over Terry McLaurin or Tyreek Hill. So he's going to be my cut. And then I think my trade, I think I'm keeping Tyreek and I'm trading Terry. It's kind of a flip of a coin here. I think you're going to get more in a trade return for Tyreek Hill for sure. But I do have him at least 1, maybe even 2 tiers above Terry McLaurin. I'm one of those people. I'm a believer in Terry McLaurin as like a mid wide receiver 2. But I feel like we've just kind of been waiting for him to do something the last 3 years, and he looks really good out there and he puts up okay stats, but we have not really seen a really truly elite season out of Terry McLaurin. So I think I'm going to use his name value and trade him and just roll with Tyreek Hill on my roster.
Yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from, where just the production that we think you're going to get from Tyreek, even with Tua, you look at it, let's say he only produces 80% of what he put up last year. That's still going to be a top 10 receiver season, and if you think you can get enough for Terry McLaurin, or if I can definitely get on board. If it's not enough to get you off of Hill, then I can see where you're coming from there. Just the aging thing for me with Tyreek. And I don't like to believe any training camp reports that aren't positive. Those are the only ones that I like to pay attention to. So I guess we'll just agree to disagree here on that one. I kind of have sour taste in my mouth because I've given up a decent amount for Tyreek in a couple spots. Not even just in our league. I got him in 2 or 3 leagues right before he went to Miami. So I was really putting all my chips in there on Tyreek. And I got pretty burnt by it because I definitely could have gotten him for cheaper 3 weeks later after all this stuff happened.
Hey man, that is the fickle beast that is Dynasty football. But that's why we play, right? For exciting shit like that. But your turn. What's your next keep trade cut?
So this is another one that's gonna make you squirm. Jameson Williams, Chris Godwin,
Hold on.
and Michael Pippen.
Dude, you're joking me right now.
I know it's late at night. You don't have the brain power for this, but I'm putting you through it. I'm putting you to the test. It's been a while. We got to put some content out. Let's have some havoc go on that Dynasty show.
Oh my gosh, dude. They're like three of my favorite Dynasty receivers right now that aren't like clear-cut obvious ones, right? Shit, dude. Godwin, Pittman, and Jameson Williams. I don't want to cut any of them. Can I just keep all three? Oh, all right. As much as it pains me, I'd probably cut Jameson Williams. Ask me that question in about 10 weeks, and the answer could change. But I got to cut the guy that's nursing an ACL on one of the worst teams in the NFL right now, right? Like, Jameson Williams, he's going to be such an electric NFL player, but his value is not even close to what Godwin and Pittman's is right now in the market, I believe. There's a very niche market for Jameson Williams. There are very few people like myself that have him as the rookie wide receiver one in this class. So I don't think you would get what you'd want out of him in the trade market. So unfortunately, I'm going to cut Jameson Williams. And then it's really tough between Pittman and Chris Godwin. But I think I'm going to keep Godwin and I'm going to trade Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is getting an absolute shit ton of hype this offseason. He has been constantly on the rise. He's made his way into the Fantasy Pros top 15 consensus wide receivers. And, you know, I have him at wide receiver 15, but I thought I was kind of an outlier thinking I was super high on him, but that's actually market value, which is kind of surprising. Michael Pittman's really good, right? We saw him, he was, I think, top 7 or top 8 over the first half of last season. And then the second half of the season, he trailed off and fell into that low-end wide receiver 2 territory. But there's a lot of really good days ahead for him. And I think people realize that, especially now that Matt Ryan's in town. I actually think that you could get more for Pittman than Godwin in a trade right now, which is kind of stupid in my opinion, because Godwin is only literally 2 seasons removed from the wide receiver 2 overall finish. And last year, I think he was wide receiver 6 or wide receiver 7 before he went down with injury. So in a 1-for-1, I'm taking Godwin. And in a trade, I think you can get more for Pittman. So I'm going to keep Godwin. I'm going to trade Pittman. And I hate you, but I'm going to cut Jameson Williams.
I think you made a really good point about Michael Pittman's kind of fall off in the second half of the season last year. And I don't think it's indirectly I think it's directly correlated with Jonathan Taylor's, boom in the second half of the season. I think that's probably going to be a trend that Indianapolis continues with. And when you pair that with the cult following that Michael Pittman has gained throughout this offseason mostly, I mean, I feel like the hype mostly came after the season ended. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm trading Michael Pittman, holding Chris Godwin. He's so underrated right now. He does not have anywhere near the amount of hype that Michael Pittman does. So I think you're right. It's unjustifiable that you would get more from Michael Pittman than Chris Godwin, but you will in most off seasons right now. And yeah, unfortunately, we are cutting the electric rookie that we love so much just because of lack of history, lack of that's the best predictor of future success is past success, and we just haven't seen it yet in the NFL, and we're gonna have to wait for it. So yeah, maybe we'll buy Jameson Williams with some of the pieces that we sold Michael Pittman for.
That's what I'm saying, dude. If you could trade Pittman for Jameson plus, like, I don't know, a second or something like that, I would do that. They're pretty damn close in my rankings, but only if I can afford the first 6 or 7 weeks without a receiver, right? But that, I hate you for asking that. That was such a good question. That really, really made me think, and I was not prepared for that.
I do it for the fans, I do it for the fans.
Yeah, you got to, you know what? I made you squirm a little bit, so you had to make me squirm. I get it. Now, I'm going to give you a tough one here because I'm giving you 3 different positions. Keep trade cut, Nick Chubb, Deontay Johnson, and Pat Freiermuth.
Ooh. You're gonna make me do it. I'll just rip my heart right out of my chest. I'm gonna cut Pat Fryermuth. I don't think he's obviously just so many rounds.
All right, you know what?
Those guys,
You're
maybe.
you're right. I let my bias, knowing that you like Pat Fryermuth, get the best of me. Let me give it a better one. All right, Nick Chubb, Deontay Johnson, or Darren Waller.
All right, that one's tougher. I wish you left it as Fryermuth.
You know what? You cut Fryermuth in the first 10 seconds of that. We had to make it a bit more difficult.
All right, so I think my keep is gonna be Deontay Johnson. He did just sign a small extension in Pittsburgh. I think 2 years, right?
Yes.
So, we have a little bit more stability there. Saw a little bit more desire out of a team to keep him, which I think is a good thing. Haven't heard many reports of Chase Claypool really being a factor in training camp. There's been more so some hype around George Pickens, which, we kind of talked about a couple weeks ago. I like Pickens a lot more as a threat in that offense than Claypool. But even so, I think I'm still holding on to Deontay. I think the volume is still going to be there. It's still going to be limited with either the rookie quarterback or Trubisky. So I think I'm keeping the production with Deontay. I think I'm getting more on the trade market for Nick Chubb than Darren Waller right now. With Darren Waller's health issues, I mean, the value on him kind of soured last year. Not a lot of people were going out and buying him, even at a lower and injured price. In a crowded offense this year, I don't even think I'd be able to wait it out and get a lot of value for Darren Waller. So yeah, I'm gonna cut Darren Waller. I'm gonna trade Nick Chubb, and I'm gonna keep Deontay Johnson. I had to talk through it. That was a tough one, but yeah, I think I'm comfortable with that.
I would flip your keeping your trade. I'd probably cut Darren Waller as well, just because I do think you can get more for both Nick Chubb and Deontay Johnson in the trade market, and I would probably keep Nick Chubb and trade Deontay Johnson, kind of for similar reasons why you would keep / trade them, right? Nick Chubb is, I think, especially with the rumors circulating that Kareem Hunt could be out of Cleveland, I think they're going to fix it. I think they'll give him a contract extension or whatever the hell he's asking for. But on the odd chance they don't, I mean, Kareem Hunt, or Nick Chubb, could have more touches than Jonathan Taylor this year, right? Could be a really big year for him. Deontay Johnson, since he did get that 2-year extension, since he was a top 10 wide receiver last year, he has a pretty similar cult following to Michael Pittman, right? Not that I'm putting those two in the same conversation here. I have them pretty similar, and actually, looking at our rankings, you have them incredibly similar as well. But the same hype that you see around Michael Pittman, you see that in certain niches from Deontay Johnson. And when he got his extension, a lot of people were pretty pumped about it, which, to be honest, I kind of wasn't. I don't want him to be in Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph. I don't think that's going to be awesome, but it is what it is. So I think that you could get a slightly higher return for Nick Chubb, but I like Nick Chubb as a player that much more than Deontay Johnson. So I will take the slightly lower return on Deontay.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb is still a guy who's really safe to have on your dynasty team. Yeah, he's not like one of those old running backs. I mean, he's 25, 26 now, right?
26, I believe.
26. Yeah, so I mean, he's getting there, right? He's getting to the top of the hill, but it's not like panic mode to sell him, especially when he's been the workhorse that he has been. Like you said, with Kareem Hunt really trying to get out of there. I think it's so funny that the Browns just say no, we're not trading you. You're under contract. Deal with it at this point. But it's kind of funny that that's the way that they're doing business right now. But yeah, like you said, he could literally get the workhorse role that Jonathan Taylor is. And I mean, we've seen that from Nick Chubb before. Second half of his rookie season, even in his second year, just an absolute animal. Absolutely goes off when he gets those touches, and that offense revolves around him. So I can entirely see holding on to Chubb because he is just going to be a consistent piece in your lineup that you're almost never going to really have to worry about dudding out unless he's off the field completely, in which case you have him subbed out, right? So, but I think for those reasons, because he's so reliable, I think you can get a good amount for him on the trade market. And I think that's what's swinging me there. And I mean, Deontay is going to be in the league a little bit longer. Yeah, it's close for me. Longevity might be the deciding factor. I kind of just always in a coin flip, I kind of just lean towards the receiver, especially in the off season. But yeah, I think I'm comfortable with it, but I like where we disagree on that one too. I think that was the place to disagree on.
Yeah, no, it's tough, especially when you're evaluating different positions there. And I mean, even with Darren Waller, I know we didn't really get to talk about him too much there, but we both have him in our top 5 rankings, as most people should have him in their top 5 of rankings. And it's just, unless you have Kyle Pitts or Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce, there are some people that may throw George Kittle or Darren Waller in that tier 1 conversation, but you're not going to really find. It's very hard to find that guy on the trade market, and I don't know many people that's just going to straight up take Nick Chubb or straight up take Darren Waller over Nick Chubb or Deontay Johnson. So I think you're right. I think Darren Waller was probably a pretty easy cut as well. So glad we threw him in there instead of Pat Frymuth, because now that I'm thinking about it, Pat F probably didn't really belong in there, but it is what it is. So
he belonged in my heart, and if we were talking about at cost, it might have been like I guess a different conversation. I mean, we're talking about a 10th round guy here and Pat Frymuth, but whatever. You just wanted to upset me, so
true. That's true.
But, so this last one is kind of just to entertain me, and it's actually one guy we just talked about, unfortunately, but. So we have Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, and Nick Chubb.
Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, and Nick Chubb. Damn. That's a pretty tough one for me. I'm going to trade Breece Hall. I'll tell you that right now. I will definitely trade Breece Hall. He was the 101 in rookie drafts this year. There are people like you that are absolutely in love with the guy and think he's a top 5 dynasty running back already. I am so opposite of that. I think Breece Hall is a top 12, maybe top 10 dynasty running back, but I wouldn't even need to find a niche, right? Like there's a lot of people that think like you do and think that he's a top 5 guy. And since I don't believe in him quite that much at this point, I'm going to sell him, because if you can turn 101 essentially, right, which is Breece Hall, you can turn that into multiple 2023 firsts. You can turn that into a lower end running back, maybe like a James Conner, or I don't know, like a Josh Jacobs kind of guy, and an additional first potentially on top of it, because that's how high people are on Breece Hall. So I'm going to trade Breece Hall because I think that's a supreme value. When it comes to Travis Etienne and Nick Chubb, it really depends on the state of my team, right? If I'm rebuilding or a middling contender, I'm going to keep Travis Etienne. If I was just a top 4 finisher last year and I still have all of my team intact, they're young, they're on the upswing, then I would go Nick Chubb. So it's really circumstantial with those two. I think, gun to my head, if I absolutely have to choose, I'm probably going to take Travis Etienne, though, because I like my pass catching backs. He's younger. He's got an absolutely insane amount of upside. And if I'm in a startup draft and both of those guys are there, most of the time I'm going to take Etienne over Chubb. So I'll keep Etienne. I'll reluctantly cut Nick Chubb, and then I'll trade Breece Hall, because I think Breece Hall is the highest return out of all 3 of those guys.
So I think you're going to be kind of shocked with what I'm about to say here, but the only sure thing that I can say here is that I would probably be trading Breece Hall.
Nice.
For where his value's at right now, it is difficult for it to go up. His value is basically at the ceiling. You cannot buy him for less than 2 first-round picks. It's going to be pretty tough for him to be more valuable than 2 first-round picks at the end of the season, unless he absolutely smashes and he does what a lot of his cult following is expecting him to do. When it comes to either keeping or cutting Etienne or Chubb, I think I'm going to take the rain check on that one. It's really tough to even make a decision until you really like emphasize the youth and the pass catching and really just the whole startup point, right? Like, who am I going to take in a startup? It's going to be Etienne every time. He's just, 3 years younger than Chubb right now, has no NFL touches on his body. He's going to be coming out fresh. I think he's going to be well healed from the injury. We've been hearing good things out of camp. He's got a good rapport with the quarterback. His quarterback is not suspended for the season, or not going to be suspended for the season. A lot of good things around Travis Etienne. I think the future is very bright for him. So I can definitely get on board with that argument. But on the contrary, I mean, earlier we talked about, we haven't seen it yet from Jameson Williams. We haven't necessarily seen it yet from Travis Etienne. So in that aspect, I can also see a world where I would keep Nick Chubb. I think, like you said, it kind of does depend on your roster,
Yeah,
if you're competing right now, it'd be Chubb. You're going to take that production, right? But if you want to have a flexible team that is just going to get a lot of value, and you're going to be able to make trade moves with it and build it how you want, like most startups, you really just want to get the most value. We're going to be going. I think I'm going to be going Etienne there.
Yeah, and that was a really good keep trade cut there, because it gave us a lot to talk about, but also just very difficult to answer. I have one here, and I know we want to move into a couple rapid fires, but I need one more before our rapid fire round. I did not plan this one ahead of time. I just thought of it because I think it's going to make you squirm a little bit. Javonte Williams, Cooper Kupp, and Mark Andrews.
I am trading the old bag Cooper Kupp. They just added Allen Robinson to that offense. I think while what Cooper Kupp did was historic last year, I don't think it's getting repeated even close to that with the competition he's going to have out of Allen Robinson. I think he's going to absolutely eat up targets. It wouldn't surprise me to see Cooper Kupp drop all the way down to like wide receiver 9, and Allen Robinson be back at like wide receiver like 16, 15-ish, in that range, I think Cooper Kupp is going to be a descending asset from this point on that you can get a bunch of value for right now, because there's the assumption that he's just going to dominate again this year. I don't think it's going to be the same domination, and he's going to be great, most likely, yes. Is it going to be what it was last year? No, I don't think so. So I'm going to be trading Cooper Kupp, and now I'm going to be keeping Mark Andrews, and I'm going to be cutting Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams, while he is one of the most efficient running backs in the league, he doesn't get the same opportunities that a lot of these other lead backs do. And when you look at Mark Andrews, he's only 26, and he's been a positional advantage that gives you 6 or 7 points over your league mates week in and week out for as long as we can remember, for as long as he's been productive in the league, right? He's got a long time left. If you could hit the reset button on Travis Kelce and send him back to 26 years old, are you going to take a running back who is going to be splitting carries, even maybe if not a 50-50 role this year? He's still going to be sharing carries with another stud running back in Melvin Gordon. Are you going to take that young running back over that guaranteed positional advantage for the next 4 years when it's really a similar shelf life in terms of like elite production? I think I'm holding Andrews, and I'm cutting Javonte.
Dude, I agree with you on at least one of those. I'm also going to keep Mark Andrews in that group. And I wasn't even thinking about it this way, but I love that you brought up if you could turn the clock back and get Travis Kelce when he's 26 years old, how many people in the entire league, right, would you take over that? That's a supreme positional advantage. Mark Andrews was the tight end one this past season. He was a top 5 tight end a couple years ago. And there's no reason to believe that he's going to slow down. He is just incredible. He's young. They're going to extend Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson literally has said on Twitter before, fuck it, Mark Andrews is down there somewhere, right? Like, it's Mark Andrews and him have a great rapport, and that's going to continue. So I agree with you. I'm going to keep him. Unfortunately, I would cut Cooper Kupp and I would trade Javonte. And I just think that you could get – it's a very similar return for Javonte and Cooper Kupp right now. I just think you could squeeze out a little bit more for Javonte because there are still people out there who have Javonte as their RB3 or even RB2 I've seen. So I think you're going to have to do some digging. You're going to have to find someone that does value him like that in order to get a better return than for Cooper Kupp. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy who he looked really good last year. Like you said, he's one of the most efficient backs in the league, but he's going to be splitting time for the foreseeable future, at least one more year. We thought that year was just going to last last year, and then they brought Melvin Gordon in this year. What's saying that Melvin Gordon doesn't find the fountain of youth and sticks around again? What's saying they're not going to go out and draft a pass-catching running back that'll severely limit Javonte's upside, right? So I would sell him because you can pawn him off as a top 2, top 3 running back, and there's not many returns like that in Dynasty. That being said, I mean, with him and Cooper Kupp, it's a coin flip as to who you're going to sell for more. So we disagree, but
we pretty much agree. I mean, Mark Andrews is staying on the team, and the other two are leaving in one form or the other. Even the young running back who we think is going to blow up and be the top 5 guy for the next 3 years once he gets the opportunity, he's not getting taken over Mark Andrews, and neither is the guy who just put up the best wide receiver season of all time in terms of fantasy production. And I think that speaks a lot about where the undervalue of Mark Andrews is right now.
Yeah, Mark Andrews is forever undervalued. You would not get the same in the trade market as Cooper Kupp and Javonte for Mark Andrews, which is stupid, which is really stupid, quite frankly. And I hate that for Mark Andrews. But I love that for me because I have an absolute shit ton of Mark Andrews, and I don't plan on shopping him anywhere.
When Hollywood's gone, I mean, nobody talks about that. It's like Hollywood's gone. There's no Rashad Bateman's there, and we believe in Rashad Bateman. At least I do. I mean, we haven't really talked about him much on this channel, but I mean, there's nobody else there. How many we've seen Lamar Jackson throw for 30+ touchdowns before? There's a lot. There could be a lot of production to go around that offense. So I'm all in on Mark Andrews. And I remember I texted you a couple weeks ago. Said, hey, what's your price on Mark Andrews? And you have Hawkinson on your bench who you really love too, and you were just like you couldn't afford him. You couldn't afford Mark Andrews.
It's true. I don't think there's anything that anyone can give me for Mark Andrews. Like, I have him over Kyle Pitts. It would take Kyle Pitts plus to get Mark Andrews off my roster. And Kyle Pitts is going almost a full round higher than him in the ADP. Like, that's how high I am on Mark Andrews. So,
you know what? I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm surprised that there's not more people who are like that, because Mark Andrews is so young, and Kyle Pitts is still unproven as of right now. He has not been the number 1 tight end in fantasy ever. Mark Andrews has. Mark Andrews has been the number 2 tight end in fantasy how many times, right? I mean, the guy has so much time left on his clock. It really does shock me that he's not still considered the tight end 1 in a lot of people's books, even though I am one who's a supporter of taking Kyle Pitts as the 4th non-quarterback off the board in startups. But yeah, it's kind of weird that his production isn't more admired and his opportunities aren't really being talked about by a lot of the community.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous, but you don't got to tell me twice. I've been banging the Mark Andrews drum a few years now. Actually, this is actually a really fun trade that I pulled off. So the year before Mark Andrews had his breakout, I was a massive fan of him. Massive fan. I had Dallas Goedert on my roster, who was drafted much earlier than Mark Andrews, had a lot more hype around him. I sent out an offer to trade away Dallas Goedert, and this was when Zach Ertz was still, a top 2, top 3 tight end. But Mark Andrews basically didn't exist at this point. I sent out an offer. I said, I'll give you Dallas Goedert and you give me Mark Andrews. It was a smash accept. That guy said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing this? That is so stupid. Mark Andrews is like a day 3 guy. Dallas Goedert is going to be a stud. You're stupid. Thanks for the gift. Dallas Goedert didn't turn out too bad either, but he ain't no Mark Andrews. So I love that for me.
That guy, whoever that was, he got what he thought he was going to get in return for that trade. He just didn't give away what he thought he was giving away. Basically.
No doubt. Okay, so I'll let you rapid fire at me in a second, but I'm going to rapid fire at you first. I got 5 rapid fires for you. So what we're going to do on these rapid fires, we're not going to provide any context. I'm just going to give you the keep, trade, cut. You're going to say keep, trade, cut, and we'll move on to the next one. And if we say anything and you are questioning it and you're like, why did Tyler do this? Why did Mikey do this? Leave it in the comments, hit us up in the Discord, do all that fun stuff. Be more than happy to explain these takes, but we got to wrap up the video in a few minutes, right? So we got to do some rapid fire. So Tyler, are you ready?
I was born ready for this. I have been waiting for it all night.
All right. First one, we'll get the tight ends out of the way. I only got one tight end question. Zach Ertz, Noah Fant, Hunter Henry.
Keep Hunter Henry, trade Zach Ertz, cut Noah Fant.
Interesting. All right. Next one, running backs. Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson.
Gross.
3 guys I know you hate.
Cut J.K. Dobbins. Keep Antonio Gibson, trade Cam Akers with no real conviction there.
All right. Next one, we got some wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy, Darnell Mooney, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
Keep Juju. So it was Juju, Darnell Mooney, and who?
Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, keep Juju, cut Darnell, trade Judy.
I know only one of us is on screen at a time in these videos, and I'm just grinning. Like I'm watching the struggle.
Like the gears are all turning. I'm like,
Rapid fire is hard.
Because you don't get to talk through it with yourself. You don't get to have that logic. You just have to spit it out.
Exactly. I got 2 more for you. Chase Edmonds, Tony Pollard, Miles Sanders.
Keep Tony Pollard, trade Miles Sanders, cut Chase Edmonds.
All right. And last one, got to put this in there. Calvin Ridley, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins.
Dude, this was, just so you know, that was my 5th one, but it's okay. I've got like
well, I'll answer it too. Make it your first one and I'll answer.
All right, deal. Keep Calvin Ridley, you already know. Trade D-Hop, cut MT. Even though I actually disagree with it. I know I'm not allowed to give it, but never mind. Forget it. Yeah.
You can't break the rapid fire rules. But if that's going to be the first one, I actually just ask me because I need another minute to think and to ask me.
Go ahead. Keep, trade, cut Calvin Ridley, Michael Thomas, or DeAndre Hopkins.
All right. I'm going to keep DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to trade. No, I'm going to keep. Oh, okay. I'm going to do what you're doing, actually. I am going to keep Calvin Ridley. I'm going to trade DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm going to cut Michael Thomas.
Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill.
Oh, shit. All right. I'm definitely going to cut Tyreek Hill. And then I will keep I'll keep Diggs and I'll trade Adams.
DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Deontay Johnson.
I'm cutting Deontay. I'm trading AJ. I'm keeping DK. Like those two syllables there.
Juju, Allen Robinson, Rashad Bateman.
Ooh, keep A-Rob, sell Bateman, cut Juju.
I think that was 4, but I'll toss one more at you. I think this is a good one. Debo, Mark Andrews, AJ Brown.
Oh shit. Well, you already know I'm going to keep Mark Andrews, and then that last one's kind of a toss-up. I'm probably going to trade Debo, and then I'll cut AJ Brown there. That's a really close one, though. That's tough.
And last one, just for fun, for my amusement and my information. Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Leonard Fournette.
Oh, you're a bastard. I will trade Lenny, keep Jacobs, and cut Monty.
Yeah, this was a fun video. I liked this format. I hope our subscribers and all the viewers liked it too, because I would definitely like to do this one again.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if they didn't like it, we're definitely doing this again just for our amusement. I mean, hey, look, we started this channel because it's something that we wanted to do because it's fun, right? And obviously, we want to make good content. We want to make sure the subscribers are liking it. We want those likes. We want those comments. We want people to join our Discord because we want to talk to everyone. But we started this channel because, you know what? You and I were texting every single day for the last 3, 4, maybe 5 months. Every day was this different Dynasty talk. And eventually we kind of looked at each other and we were like, all right, shit, like, let's just put a camera in front of us, see what happens. If it sticks, it sticks. If not, hey, whatever, we had fun. But yeah, I do sincerely hope the subscribers do like this one, because if we can get a double win on this, we love it, they love it, that would be incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, it's starting to stick, man. I was getting tired of sitting in front of those Excel spreadsheets for no reason other than my own amusement. It was time to put some information out into the world, and yeah, I mean, we've been having so much fun doing this. We gained a couple subscribers over the last week while we were quiet. So yeah, we just really appreciate the support, all the love you guys have been showing us, and yeah, keep it coming so we can keep coming up with some creative ideas like this, and we can keep having fun with you guys.
Absolutely. And as always, we have those subscriber submissions. If you're in the Discord and you ever want to join a mock draft, let us know. We'd be more than happy to get you in one of our live mock drafts, and we can kind of provide commentary on your team. And also, if you have any videos, any ideas for videos that you'd like to see, put them in the comments. We will be more than happy to explore anything. Obviously, if you're like, yo, debate Christian McCaffrey and Mo Alley Cox, I'm going to tell you, no, I'm not going to do that.
I'm going to tell you that you're Mo Alley Cox, and to go Mo Alley Cox yourself away from here.
I don't know why I chose Mo Alley Cox. It was just the first name that came to mind there. But yeah, no, seriously, if you have any really, really good suggestions, we're more than happy, more than open to take those. So, we're going to go ahead and close down this video. But, usually I'm the one doing it. Tyler, why don't you give us the sign off tonight?
For me, for Mikey, for all of us, too, at That Dynasty Show, thanks for watching. And this is That Dynasty Show. I think I did that right.
Good try. See you next time.